I am the Garrett Grandmaster Hunter CX3, the world's first talking detector. But more importantly, I am the deepest seeking detector known to man. With field-proven microprocessor circuitry, GTA display, and touchpad controls, I will hunt deeper and with more sensitivity and accuracy than any other detector. I am also the only computerized detector with a non-motion, all-metal mode. Yet, just press a single touchpad and I am instantly ready to hunt. What's more, my voice will help you find treasure. But never forget, the Garrett Grandmaster Hunter CX3 is more than just talk. I am the deepest seeking detector known to man.
The deepest seeking detector known to man? And it talks? Well, let's just turn it on and...
Ready, motion, mode, coins.
Told us plenty, didn't it? This detector is ready to hunt right now in a motion mode with discrimination set to find coins. Hear that threshold sound? It's already been set at the factory, and the detector reported that all the other systems are ready. So let's go hunting right now. Sure, it's that easy with the CX3. Press one touchpad and go into the field. No programs to load, no codes to memorize. Charles Garrett's lifelong dream was to build a detector that is always ready to hunt at the touch of just a single control. This is that kind of detector. Mr. Garrett recommends that we swing the search coil back and forth in a straight line as we walk forward. Notice that the coil is held an inch or two above the ground. Since we're operating in a motion mode, we have to keep the detector moving slightly for detection to occur. Any acceptable metal target that we find will cause an increase in sound. When Treasure Talk Level C is activated, you will also get a voice report from the CX3. All targets, good and bad, are always indicated on our meter.
9+.
What do you know? There's our first discovery. Let's check the meter to see if it agrees with the voice. Yep, it's a 9+. And this segment on the top scale indicates what we've found. You can see by the target ID guide above the top scale that we've probably located a quarter. This target segment will hold for 5 seconds or until something new is found. Now, move the search coil around a little to discover just exactly where the coin is located. Okay, let's dig it up. Just like the voice told us, 9+, a quarter on the ID guide, and it's a silver one too. What the voice and meter couldn't tell us is that the coin is dated 1945. Let's find some more. Modern detector circuitry enables the CX3 to avoid detecting many targets made of junk metal. This is called discrimination. Because the discrimination of your CX3 in its motion coins mode has been preset at the factory to hunt for coins and similar targets, this instrument will not respond to most junk items. When you get an acceptable target, you'll hear clear, strong signals like that made by our quarter.
10+.
Now that sounds like another coin. Let's dig it up, and then talk some more about your new CX3 with the famed GTA. GTA stands for Graphic Target Analysis, and that's what you see on the face of the CX3. An analysis of any target you discover. And much more is also shown here. Let's take a moment to study that revolutionary LCD meter. Remember that it looked like this when the voice reported you'd found that 9+ target. The detection cursor on the top scale, in combination with the ID guide, indicated that you had discovered a quarter. But what about the 24 squares on the lower scale? Well, those segments denote discrimination notches that have been set at the factory. Your CX3 will detect any target that corresponds to one of the darkened segments that form the notches. We'll talk more about the notches later. First, let's go back to that quarter we found and learn how we could have located it even more precisely by pressing another touchpad. Remember that we located our coin by moving the search coil around. We could have pressed and held this touchpad and done the job a lot more quickly. For the most effective electronic pinpointing, place your search coil on the ground directly above a target. Press and hold the pinpoint touchpad and scan back and forth. You'll notice a more distinct audio sound when the target is directly beneath the search coil center. You'll notice, too, that you can hold your search coil absolutely still when using electronic pinpointing. No movement is necessary. As you pinpoint, watch the upper scale segments illuminate from right to left to indicate signal strength. The maximum reading attained toward the left will occur when the target is beneath the center of your search coil. Now, release the touchpad, check the lower scale for target depth in inches. Or you can listen
Coin depth is 4 inches.
and hear just what the meter shows. You've found your silver quarter. You've learned how to pinpoint electronically. In short, you know how to operate the CX3. You may never want to touch any touchpad other than power and pinpoint. But there's so much more to this fantastic new detector. Let's first learn how you can adjust any of the controls to make the detector hunt just the way you want it to hunt, and to locate just the targets you're looking for. You can regulate the CX3 for any kind of treasure hunting with these touchpads. And it's here, on this LCD control panel, that you can determine exactly how you want to hunt. As you've already learned, there are no codes for you to memorize and no so-called programs you have to load. This GTA reports online information. What you see is what you get. All your options are explained in this owner's manual. If you haven't done so, I urge you to read this manual carefully. No matter how much you know about Garrett CX2 or GTA 1000 detectors, you'll need some instruction on this new one. Of course, this video is designed to help, but nothing can ever take the place of your owner's manual. You'll notice that Garrett makes its manuals in a size that fits easily into your pocket. So study it carefully, then take it into the field with you. This LCD is the most obvious difference between the CX2 and the CX3, but there are others. And this single touchpad represents one of the major improvements for the CX3 in comparison with the GTA detectors. Press it and the LCD shows non-motion. And that's exactly what it permits you to do. Hunt in a genuine VLF non-motion all-metal mode. Any experienced treasure hunter will explain that you can always search deeper and with more sensitivity in this mode. We're going to talk more about non-motion hunting in a minute. But it's as a motion detector that the CX3 will probably be used most of the time. And since most of the adjustments apply to the motion modes, we'll discuss them first. Your CX3 offers 6 different hunting modes, 3 set at the factory, and 3 that you can style yourself. When you turned on the detector, you were automatically operating in the factory preset coins detection mode with discrimination, as shown on the lower scale, preset for the types of trash targets generally found in coin hunting. Press the select touchpad and your mode selections appear.
Motion mode, coins.
In setting any modes on a detector with a graphic target analyzer LCD, the words that are steady and not blinking, coins in this case, indicate the mode in which the instrument is operating. To change your selection, press the plus touchpad. We'll keep pressing until the words all metal are constant.
A, B, C, all metal.
If we then press the operate pad, we can begin hunting in a motion all metal mode. Always remember that this mode is different from the non-motion all metal mode. You just won't be able to achieve the depth and sensitivity of the non-motion mode. You may also miss a few of the trash metal targets you'll encounter in the non-motion all metal mode. But remember, In a motion mode, the detector has to be kept moving slightly unless you're using the pinpoint touchpad. Now, look at the discrimination notches in the lower scale. In this motion all-metal mode, you'll notice that all appear. The CX3 will now sound off on almost any metal it detects. But we're also still operating with depth, threshold, and standard audio preset at the factory. So let's press Select again and rotate through all the options in the motion mode.
Motion mode, all metal.
First comes Mode. Since the words all metal are constant and not blinking, we'd be hunting in that mode if we now pressed Operate. But since we're checking all our options, we'll press Select again, and the detector asks,
Motion mode depth, 9.
You'll note that the factory setting for motion detection depth is about 75%. Of course, you always want to hunt as deep as possible, but ground mineralization and other conditions may sometimes limit just how deep you can set your detector. Press the plus touchpad to increase depth and sensitivity. Then watch the squares in the upper scale and listen.
9 plus.
The squares and voice indicate the depth or sensitivity of your detector. This control option permits you to achieve all of the detection depth that is possible under any conditions. You'll notice that the voice said Motion Detection Depth. That's because you may want to set a different depth for non-motion hunting. We'll talk about this later. But now, press Select again. The next option,
Audio threshold, 8 plus.
permits you to use the plus and minus touchpads to adjust the operating threshold. That's the audible sound produced by your detector when you turn it on and while you're scanning.
10. 8 plus.
You can see your changes are indicated instantly on the upper scale. No codes or programming required. When the headphones are being used by plugging them in this jack on the side of your CX3, you'll probably need to lower your threshold level since sound is more audible through the headphones. If you're not using headphones for some reason, always leave this plug in place. But remember that Mr. Garrett and his engineers all recommend the use of headphones. Your next motion mode option,
Audio tone, 5 plus.
is tone, which determines the pitch of the sound produced by your detector. The voice told you factory setting, and it is also shown on the upper scale. Touching the plus pad will raise the tone into a higher treble range, while touching the minus pad will lower it into more of a bass range.
9 plus. 5 plus.
Experiment to determine which pitch best suits your hearing. When you press Select again,
Audio volume, 12 maximum.
you are told and can see on the upper scale the volume level at which your targets will sound. Plus and minus pads are used to regulate. Since this adjustment controls the volume of sound produced by the CX3 only when a target is encountered, it will not affect the threshold level you have selected as the primary audio function of your detector. This next feature,
Detection frequency, 7.
reflects the ability of your CX3 to operate at 8 different detection frequencies. You may never want to use this option as long as you're hunting alone. When you're engaged in competition hunting or searching with others, you'll often find detectors talking to or otherwise interfering with each other. Even when you're by yourself, you may sometimes hear an erratic sound like this, caused by outside electrical or atmospheric interference. When this happens, access frequency selection and just press the plus or minus touchpads to change to a new frequency.
6.
Both the voice and upper scale will reflect your changes. Our next feature
Surface elimination, off.
is called surface elimination and is sometimes known as blanking. It will be helpful in areas where large amounts of trash are present on the surface. Utilizing this function will eliminate detection of coin-sized objects to the specified depth, which we will now set to 2 inches. Press the plus
2,
or minus touchpads to change this setting. If you don't want to use this function, make certain that the depth level on the upper scale is set to 0.
surface elimination, off.
Let's talk now about the sound your CX3 will make when it finds a coin. In the motion modes, you have your choice of discriminating audio, one of 3 types of sounds you can hear when you detect a target. Remember how you heard just an increase in sound when you found that quarter? That's standard audio. Press select,
Bell tone audio, off.
and you'll be offered the bell tone option. So now, press plus, causing bell tone to become constant, and hear.
Bell tone audio, on.
Using this type of audio, you would have heard Garrett's coin alert bell tone when you found that quarter. Still, a third type of audio is bilevel.
Bi-level audio, on.
Silver coins and other targets of higher conductivity produce this increase in audible sound, while nickels and other targets of lower conductivity are identified by a sound that you can recognize as slightly lower. You'll want to try out all 3 of these options when you bench test your CX3 or in your test plot. The next option asks whether you want to boost the audio of your detector to enhance faint signals. You'll find this feature helpful at those times when you're hearing some weak signals but suspect that you may be missing others. Listen. If audio boost is blinking on the screen as shown here, press the plus pad to turn it on.
Audio boost, on.
Pressing the minus pad turns it off.
Audio boost, off.
And it begins to blink again. Of course, Treasure Talk will inform you each time any function is turned on and off. And speaking of Treasure Talk,
Treasure Talk, A.
there's an option that asks just how much talking we want, or whether we even want any at all. When this option is displayed, pressing the minus touchpad turns off the voice totally.
Off.
Press plus again
A.
to turn it on. And you have 3 choices. Choice A lets you hear prompting only when using the select touchpad to set your detector's options. Choice B
B.
provides coin depth information as well. And choice C
C.
gives you the full range of voice information, which includes location of the target cursor for acceptable targets.
9 plus.
You'll need this final selection
Standard.
only when you're using NiCad rechargeable batteries. The CX3 reports continually on the condition of your standard batteries. When using NiCads, press the minus touchpad
NiCad.
to turn on the words NiCad batteries. Whether you're using NiCads or regular batteries, you will see that 6 squares are shown when your batteries are fully charged. When only 2 squares remain, this indicator will appear and the voice
Low battery power.
will also tell you that battery life is getting short. Occasionally check this indicator so that you're not surprised by battery failure. And while we're talking about batteries, let's learn how to change them. First of all, you have 6 fresh C-cell batteries ready. Then, after removing the armrest and sliding off this cover, the quickest and easiest way to remove the battery pack is simply to turn your detector over and let the pack slide right out into your hand. Use your fingers to loosen the 2 screws holding the spring-loaded pack together. You may need to use a small screwdriver at first until these screws loosen up a bit. Remove the top to gain access to the batteries. When you're putting in new batteries, make certain they are inserted properly. You'll have absolutely no trouble replacing the battery pack because there's only one way it will go in, and that's the right way. A NiCad pack is available from Garrett for your CX3, and complete recharging instructions can be found in your owner's manual. Let's consider one other word that may appear in the lower right corner of your GTA display. It will blink whenever your detector has encountered a particularly large target, one that's just too big for a normal signal. Now, here's a tip you should always remember. You can instantly restore factory settings on all controls by holding the power touchpad for about 10 seconds, or until you hear 2 beeps.
Factory preset. Ready, motion mode, coins.
And here's still another tip if you ever accidentally ask the CX3 to do something that's not possible. Say you pressed a touchpad out of sequence. You can't harm your CX3, but it will let you know with this burst of audible sound. No harm done. You'll just realize you've asked your detector to do something that's not possible. Of course, there are countless things that are possible only with the CX3. And one of the most important of these concerns detection modes. When we turned it on, the detector was operating in a motion coins mode. You can easily select the motion all metal mode or any other mode.
Motion mode, coins. Beach. All metal.
And there's another important control on this detector that makes it quite easy for you to hunt in 2 separate motion modes almost at the same time by instantly switching from one to the other. It's this last mode touchpad. You can see that the detector is now operating in the motion all metal mode. But just by pressing the last mode touchpad, we're hunting in the coins mode again. The ability to change between any 2 motion modes so easily gives us the opportunity to check all of our targets quickly and simply by switching between modes. Or we can have a 3-mode detector by switching to the non-motion all metal, which we'll learn about in a minute. You should also remember that whenever you turn off your detector
Power off.
and turn it back on,
Ready, non-motion, all metal.
it will begin hunting in the same mode you had been using last. To return to factory settings, you just press and hold the power touchpad for 10 or so seconds.
Factory preset. Ready, motion mode, coins.
The CX3 is that simple and easy to use. No coding, no programming. But if you desire, these discrimination segments, which we call notches, can open the door for you to a kind of hunting you've only dreamed of before. Here's how. When you turn on your detector in the motion coins mode, discrimination has been preset at the factory. You're ready to hunt for coins, and the detector will report on targets whose conductivity is represented by the darkened notches on the lower scale. You can see that a target is indicated on the upper scale. But is it really a coin? How many times have you found trash like this with conductivity that somehow locates it here on the GTA target analyzer? Well, it would be right in the middle of the discrimination control of this old-style detector. To dial out such a trash target, you have to set discrimination on the old detector so high that you would miss many valuable coins or pieces of jewelry. Not with the CX3. You can adjust your detector to reject this particular target, yet not reject targets with even slightly more or less conductivity. There are 2 ways to do this. The simplest is to pass the offending target across your search coil. See the detection cursor appear on the upper scale? Now, press the Set Discrimination touchpad and the notch disappears on the lower scale. This means that you won't find any more targets with that level of conductivity. If you want to accept a particular target for which the segment is not shown, follow the same rules. When you pass the target over your search coil, you can see the target cursor appear on the upper scale, and press Set Discrimination to make the segment appear on the lower scale. This ensures that your CX3 will detect targets of this conductivity. The second way to change discrimination notches is to use the plus and minus touchpads to move the cursor across the upper scale. When it is positioned above the appropriate darkened segment, use the Set Discrimination touchpad to eliminate that segment. See? The lower scale notch disappears. Or use the same pad when the segment is not showing to make certain your detector recognizes a target with that level of conductivity. Now, we've done all this while operating in the motion coins mode, but we could make similar modifications in any of the other 5 motion modes. Always remember that modifications of the 3 preset motion modes, coins, beach, and all metal, are temporary. Whenever we change one of these factory detection modes, any modifications that we made for a current hunting session will disappear when the detector is turned off.
Power off.
When it is turned back on,
Ready, motion mode, all metal.
note that it returns to the same motion mode in which we were operating, but that the discrimination settings are once again those that were preset at the factory. The CX3 offers 3 additional modes, however, especially designed to be set by the user. They are indicated on your LCD as the A, B, and C detection modes. In these 3 modes, you can use the Set Discrimination touchpad, as we have discussed, to design discrimination to your own specifications. And the detector will retain your settings even after you turn it off and turn it on again. Now, you may never want to use these modes or these methods of discrimination, but they will always be ready for you. And who knows, someday you may be looking for a lost earring to match this one. You know that it's lost somewhere nearby. So just set your CX3 to accept only this piece of jewelry, and it will reject all other metal targets while locating the lost earring. Or you may be hunting in an area where you're plagued with just one special type of trash. Reject it, and continue to hunt in a motion all metal mode for every other metallic target. Finally, you may have your own special ideas about how discrimination should be set on a metal detector. The CX3 lets you try out ideas quickly and easily. And here's what you treasure hunting pros have been waiting to hear about. Let's stay out here in the field to learn about this important hunting mode. We've talked a lot about the motion modes and discrimination notches available in those 6 modes. That's as it should be, because most hobbyists will probably hunt successfully in one of the motion modes. Yet, the CX3 offers this non-motion, all-metal mode that is especially important to all of you who want truly maximum depth and don't mind digging some junk. It's a genuine VLF non-motion mode. You'll always want to use this mode when greatest depth is sought, when looking for caches or deep relics. You'll also look for gold in the non-motion all-metal mode. Your options for depth, threshold, tone, volume, frequency, and talk will be set just as you set them for the motion modes. And the battery gauge will continue to report on either standard or NiCad batteries as you instruct. It's ground balance that has always offered the major challenge to anyone hunting in a non-motion all-metal mode. Setting up the detector to ignore ground minerals, and no matter how well you regulate your detector, you can hit a patch of highly mineralized soil. Like this spot on our Garrett test grounds. With the CX3, however, ground balancing is oh so easy. Just press this non-motion pad. You'll notice that the touchpad says Fast Track. Well, that's the name of Garrett's exclusive method of instantaneous ground balance. And when we continue searching, a special detector circuit we call Ground Track will operate to keep the detector properly ground balanced at all times. Except when we get really mineralized soil like we're finding now in the Garrett test area. But your CX3 has a solution for this too. We cycle through our non-motion mode selections until we come to Manual Ground Balance.
Manual ground balance, 11.
This control option permits you to use the plus and minus touchpads to change this setting. Let me emphasize that the Fast Track and Ground Track automatic circuitry will almost always provide all the ground balancing your CX3 ever needs. Use manual ground balancing only when you have the experience to be certain that it is required. The CX3 is such a marvelous detector that it even offers a way to use discrimination in the non-motion mode of the CX3. How can you use discrimination, you may be asking, when the detector is detecting every target? Well, it just detected a target. So let's examine the meter more closely and match it against the target ID guide. Want to dig a pull tab? I didn't think so. You see, we let the meter discriminate for us in this area where we're looking for relatively shallow coins. Another non-motion mode option is called VCO.
VCO audio on.
And it enables the audio function of your detector to operate more effectively. This is particularly true in pinpointing and with larger targets. Using this function will change both the tone and volume of your detection sounds. Use the plus and minus touchpads to turn VCO on and off. We recommend that you experiment carefully in your test plot before using this option in the field. Of course, if we were searching for a large cache or some other deeply buried object, we'd be using Garrett's depth multiplier, the two-box search coil that enables the CX3 to search up to 4 times deeper. This marvelous device, which we call the Bloodhound, has proved itself time and again all over the world, and only Garrett's Master Hunter CX detectors can use it. Let's review all the other coils available for your CX3. It came equipped with this 8.5-inch crossfire. And there's a smaller coil that many coin hunters find especially valuable. We call it the Super Sniper. It's used for tight places where a larger coil won't fit, or for areas with large amounts of metallic trash. A larger crossfire coil with a diameter of 12.5 inches is used for those large and deep targets you normally encounter in cache and relic hunting. Garrett also recently introduced these 2 new elliptical coils. They feature a narrow, hot strip down its center that enables the elliptical search coil to find targets at greater depths and with more sensitivity than the round coils.
Ready, motion, mode, coins.
There you have it, a brief but complete introduction to the Garrett Grandmaster Hunter CX3, a truly marvelous metal detector. I'm going to take mine into the field right now with the owner's manual to listen to Treasure Talk and learn more about the instrument. Might find some coins while I'm at it. Care to join me with your new CX3?